Welcome to Health Matters with Dr. Nelson Bulmash, sponsored by the UI Radio Network at uiradionetwork.org. Catch us on Facebook and Instagram at United Intentions and Twitter at Higher Intention. Look for us on 99.1 FM, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, Stitcher, Blog Talk Radio, and many more. Over the next hour, we'll introduce you to some fascinating people and engaging discussions that may provide you with answers to assist in revolutionizing your own personal health. And now, here's Dr. Nelson.
Hey everybody, Dr. Nelson Bulmash here, the host of Health Matters on the UI Media Network. What a crazy time, right? I hope that all of you are faring out the best that you can. I can't believe I've never had a time in my life where I have had so many people around me in such a funk, such a state. Some of them are paralyzed by fear, by anxiety, angry, frustrated. You name the emotion, they're going through it, and it's very, very intense. I'm a little surprised. I got kicked out of the gym, as we all did, not just me specifically. It wasn't like I was misbehaving, and they said, Dr. Nelson, you're out of here. No, they kicked us all out for some period of time until things quiet down. But I'm used to having that as my Xanax, if you will. My Prozac, going to the gym and getting rid of all my stress by throwing heavy weight around. So, you can do freehand exercises. I did over 600 push-ups on my lunch break yesterday, but it's not quite the same as, handling heavy dumbbells or something like that. It just doesn't feel quite right. I don't have access to all those beautiful machines that I know want me to use them. And I know many of you are probably in the same predicament. What do you do with yourself? Well, if you can't, and I'm working out, by the way, and I get it. It just isn't quite the same. And one of the things I'm longing for the most is getting back to the regularity of life where I can go to the gym and have fun. So what are some of the things that you guys are struggling with other than the obvious, like, am I going to live? Am I going to die? Am I going to lose my house? Today, we're going to talk mostly about that, not the little things, but the bigger things, because I have spent the days I normally plan meetings, I write papers, I do research. I have been spending from early in the morning until sometimes midnight talking to patients via text or phone because they are paralyzed by fear. They don't know whether they're going to have their job. They don't know whether they're going to be able to feed their family. They don't know whether they'll ever get hired again. Friends of mine, many of them own their own businesses, and they're looking at me crying, saying, look, Nelson, I got maybe 4 weeks and I'm done, man. I'm going to give up, a business that we've had for 3 generations. It's a very, very unprecedentedly difficult time right now. I got it. I was speaking to one of my producers here in the studio who I'm so happy. Ashley, I hope you don't mind me mentioning you. I'm so happy she's good with it, giving me the thumbs up. We're HIPAA compliant here. She's saying you're good, Nelson. So, she was in here. She's a young woman, great health, but a little afraid. And I got it. We're all afraid. Why? Because you don't know. You don't know what's going to happen. I got a call yesterday from someone who said their father had just died. An hour later, I had a friend text me, and he said, Nelson, I can't believe this. One of my very best friends in high school died a few days ago, and the same week his son died of COVID-19. So it's a scary time. If you're not concerned, you're probably being a little cocky and a little foolish. So one of the things I want to talk about early in the show, because I just have had, I could do a whole show on this. I've had so many people, innumerable in nature, meaning I couldn't even count how many people have gotten a hold of me via phone, via email, via text, friend of friend, and said, Nelson, what can we do right now? Well, here's what you can do. And one of the things that makes me a little sad is that we're clearly going through a period of being tested on a grand scale. So, you have to ask yourself certain questions. Like we've had the most unprecedented fires. Look at here we are, for example, California was burning. We couldn't stop it. Australia, the same thing. It was on fire. We didn't know what to do. Finally, we get rains in Australia, and what happens? Unprecedented floods. We've had more earthquakes, more volcanic action, more hurricanes, more tornadoes. You name it that's dramatic of Mother Nature. It's happening right now. So this is one thing in a stream of many and more to come. Now, I'm not saying that to scare you. Hang in there with me. I'm just saying that this is a time for us to wake up. And what I mean by that is a time where we need to get rid of the ridiculous, cavernous space that is miles deep existing between us with differences of religion, ideology, political, for heaven's sakes. Look, we're all people. We all fundamentally want the same things. You know, you want to be able to live comfortably at your house. You want to be able to love who you want. You want to be able to go where you want. You want to drive what you want. You want to be able to eat food, not have to worry about getting toilet paper. Thank you, hoarders. You want to be able to love and make sure that the people you know and love are safe, that you have a job that can help you provide for yourself, your family, etc. So we're not that different, folks. But we're going to, either kicking and screaming or voluntarily, we're either going to comply and realize, you know what? These are crazy times. We need to find a balance. We need to find a way to love and to work together, or we're all going to crash and burn. And when we get to the other side of this, and we will, folks, we will get to the other side of this. When we do, we can bury our dead, we can heal our wounds, and we can move forward in a way that involves not all of this dissonance, not all of this crazy, I'm a Democrat, you're a Republican, I'm a Democrat, or I'm Christian, you're Muslim or Jewish. That's all ridiculous. Believe what you want to believe. Don't harm people with your beliefs. Come from a spirit of love and cooperation, and you can laugh at me as people often do, but I'm going to tell you something. One of these crazy times, whether it's a flood, whether it's a fire, whether it's a tornado, whether it's a plague, something's going to land on your doorstep. And I promise you, you aren't going to get out of the throes of whatever that devilry is, as my friends like to say here in the South, without the help of somebody. So be the difference you want to see in the world. Be somebody that somehow contributes. Don't put crazy stuff on the internet, on Facebook, on Instagram, that disparages a whole group of people, whether it be Democrats, Republicans, whether it be Christians or Muslims or Jews. Start thinking about coming from a place where we all need to cooperate. We all need to come together and collaborate to make sure we get to the finish line, okay? Because I promise you, if you don't, you're not going to make it. If it's not this, it'll be something else or something else or something else. Okay, wake up time, big test here. Time for us all to do a fundamental reset, and that's one of the things we're going to talk about. Now, I want to address another thing before I get busy with my guest, and that is I'm constantly asked, because I've been a doctor in practice now for chiropractic, naturopath, nutritionist with several high-level specialty skills, 2 diplomates in nutrition. So I've been down this path, not with this virus, nobody has, but with many other viruses over the last nearly 30 years. And I can tell you that as a former fighter, one of the best things you can do is have a great defense. How do you have a great defense? You take great care of yourself. We can't be slovenly. We can't be reckless. You know, I watch people at the grocery store, and one of the things that was just shocking to me and unsettling was when I went to every grocery store, guess what one of the aisles was? And I'm not talking the obvious of toilet paper and paper towels and paper plates and dairy and eggs and milk were gone. But one of the aisles that was barren was all the junk food. Folks, oh my God. You want a way to end yourself fast? Just eat lots of refined, processed, non-nutritious food, and you are allowing these things to ally with the plague, if you will. What do I mean by that? I mean, number one, they're devoid of nutrition. Imagine, I'm going to paint a picture for you for a second. Let's go back in time to World War II. We had 2 legends that faced off in North Africa. One was Rommel and one was George C. Patton. And it was said that Patton would never be able to take Rommel. Rommel had the Tiger tank, and the soldiers from the United States said, we can't even penetrate their armor. Our shells bounce off the tanks. So how are we going to win this war? Well, Patton refused to hear that. He said, hey, it's not happening. We're going to beat him. And he figured out he beat him by strategy. We're going to win this by strategizing. What do I mean? I mean this. If you're deficient in critical nutrients, vitamin A, vitamin D3, K2, vitamin E, and I'm talking in whole food form here, folks, selenium, zinc, magnesium, B complex, you got no bullets. Imagine what would have happened in that epic battle between the legends Rommel and Patton if Patton said to his soldiers right before they got ready to have that incredible battle, hey guys, check it out. I scored you 50 bullets. You got 50 bullets to take down the greatest legend, the greatest tank commander on the planet. They probably would have looked at each other and said, let's just shoot it ourselves now. We'll count to 3. I shoot you, you shoot me. Let's just get it over with. They never would have won. But can you imagine if Patton said, check it out, guys. We have an indomitable spirit. We are not going to lose. We're going to out-strategize them. We're going to beat them by being smarter. They're going to underestimate us. They're going to think that we don't have the wherewithal, we don't have the spirit to dominate them, to beat them on this battlefront. you make sure that you're eating extremely well. You see someone who does functional medicine, someone that can say you're deficient in these areas. You have to cinch that up, right? You gotta seal the hole, because the ship will sink if you don't have enough D3. Yeah, you're likely going to get a respiratory infection or some kind of infection, and the severity will be worse. If you don't have enough vitamin A, once again, enough zinc, you're going to have trouble. You're not going to be able to mount an effective defense. See someone who can help you, someone who can find out where you're weak, where you need to improve your diet. And by the way, I'm still the biggest fan of a flexitarian diet. Everybody says, how should I eat? Everybody's different, but quickly focus on basically an organic or beyond organic plant-based diet. Have 20 to 30% of your dietary needs come from protein. Focus on eating raw seeds and nuts. Avoid anything that I've said that you can't have. So if you can't have peanuts, obviously don't eat peanuts, right? But eat a lot of raw food. 70-ish% of what I eat is raw. I eat a lot of fresh, raw vegetables. I eat a lot of seafood from the cleanest waters of the world. Eat so that your defenses are not beatable. I want you to understand something. It's so interesting because this is the first time that our country has had this kind of a problem in my lifetime. And so people are afraid. They actually believe, they've been trained to believe the only way we can get through these kinds of pandemics is through drugs and vaccines. I got news for you. The greatest plagues of the world left plenty of people alive. Yeah, they killed a lot of people. But part of the reason, for example, it's believed that the Spanish influenza killed so many people is because it went through a time when people were going through war and there was famine, and a lot of people didn't have adequate nutrition and living conditions. People will always live through this. The people that are going to do the best are people who have the least amount of compromise. So if you're somebody, for example, with this current issue, the COVID-19, and you're doing a lot of NSAIDs, particularly Motrin sets the stage for the virus to win in your body. Don't take it right now. If you're diabetic, you better make sure that you're eating the best that you can, and you probably should remove yourself from the population at large, sequester yourself off in a safe area, right? If you have obesity as a compromise, if you have high blood pressure, some of the drugs, the ACE inhibitors, also fuel the infection. If you're someone who is above 70, particularly over 80, you got reason to be careful. And one of the biggest problems, by the way, I would assert that these people have so much trouble is because one of the first things that people start having as a problem with their health as they get older, they have digestive compromise. They don't eat enough. They don't digest and assimilate nutrients as well. These people must be on supplements like vitamin D3, K2, vitamin A, and so forth. So to summarize, eat well, get the best sleep you can. You got to have R&R, guys. You can't live on an adrenaline surge from now until this thing is over with. You got to get good sleep. You got to drink plenty of good spring water, reverse osmosis, or distilled water. When you keep your membranes thick and pumped up like a sponge, they're harder to penetrate. So make sure you drink particularly hot fluids, okay? Avoid refined sugar, starch, and grains. They're not good for you. They deplete you from a nutritional perspective. They don't add to your body, and they're going to make you weaker. You only want to do things right now that strengthen you. Okay? How are we doing for time here, folks? Do I have another? We got 2 minutes? Minute and a half? All right. So here's what I'm going to do here. When we come back, I'm going to introduce my guest, but I hope that helps some of you. You need me. I'm Dr. Nelson Bulmash. I'm all over Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. Don't hesitate to contact me. Before we take our first break, I want to thank all my friends who are catching the show right here in Atlanta on WGJY FM 99.1. If you're one of my friends, family, or followers up in Kentucky and Ohio, catching the show on WTTA 101.2 FM, thank you. And for the rest of you who are listening in on either Binge Networks TV or all the social media platforms, really grateful for you. I couldn't do this without your following. So if you have any questions you want to call in and give any comments, please do so. We're here from 5 to 6. We're almost at our commercial break. I have one more thing, and then we'll come back. If you have any questions or would like to say hello, please call us at 678-495-4345. All right, we're going to take a break. I'm going to introduce my guest next.
For total health, you've got to address the whole person. Don't stop at the physical body. There's more. Hi, I'm Dr. Arlene Diamco, and I'll help you uncover the depths of healing with my show, the multidimensional MD. I'll talk about the mind-body connection, consciousness, energy medicine, food, herbs, and more every other Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the UI Media Network. You can catch me live on uimediaapp.com, WDJY 99.1 FM in Atlanta, Facebook Live, Spreaker, and almost all the podcasting platforms at UI Media Network. Write to me with anything that's holding you back from enjoying optimal health at contact@uimedianetwork.org. And I won't hold back on sharing the secrets to access deeper healing by addressing the many layers of your being. Dive into these dimensions together with me, Dr. Arlene Diamco, the multidimensional MD.
All right. I am Dr. Nelson Bulmash. My guest is Renata Mazu, and she is an intuitive mind architect. And I love that because it seems so apropos of who she is and what she does. What seemed to be an ordinary life from the outside felt like an intense roller coaster to her on the inside until just a few years ago. Things like never fitting in and feeling good enough, constantly questioning it and doubting herself, and every decision, that she made. She changed careers multiple times in order to find her purpose. She moved across the world, going through several life-shattering traumas that turned her whole world upside down and served as fuel to redefine her. All this enabled her to stop running from herself, which helped her open doors to the spiritual world, heal and tear down any old, outdated programs that no longer served her. She then rewired herself by eliminating deeply rooted destructive beliefs, which helped her uncover her intuitive gifts. Today, she uses her unique, I call it life reset process, to help others clean out their inside closet, so to speak, heal and detach from their past traumas quickly and permanently by neutralizing their fears and outdated programs. By doing so, people are able to find their purpose and build a solid mental and emotional foundation so they can stand in their power and build lives and businesses that they're passionately obsessed with. And I want to, before I even officially welcome you, I have to say one of the reasons I brought Renata in today is because she has helped me, as many of you know, that I've been dealing with an inordinate number of deaths around me before the whole COVID-19 issue arose. Just last year and this year, very, very strange year. Matter of fact, my mother-in-law just died not even 2 weeks ago. Just a lot. I think we lost 5 family members over the last year. So she was incredible, and her process, which may be a little difficult for her to describe, but we're going to get into it. We'll see what we can do. I just want you to know I have her here because she was so incredibly helpful in, I'm going to say, helping me untangle perspectives. And I hope I can say this from is it fair to say from a subconscious perspective?
Absolutely.
Okay, because I wasn't, Renata, I wasn't even aware that they were occurring, but she did some brilliant work on me. I have definitely been sleeping better and feeling better. So without saying any more, Renata Mazu, welcome to Health Matters. It's so great to have you here.
Oh, I'm so blessed to be here, actually. Thank you.
And I want everybody to know, as I just stated, you really made a difference for me, kind of getting things untangled. And here's the thing, folks. I want to be clear about this. And I know I'm talking a lot, but I'm going in a very specific direction with this. And I'm going to set up Renata to help her spin her web, if you will, so you understand how valuable what she does is. One of the things that happens is we get caught up in what we think is real. And often we have filters in place. It's called the RAS system, reticular activating system, that we put filters in place. And so we see our world. So if the world is bad, if I'm going to be sick, then that's what your mind looks for, and that's what it creates, and that's what you find. So if you're somebody who you can't make money, or you're always sick, or the world is bad to you, the world is evil to you, your brain is going to make sure, if that's what you really believe subconsciously, that that's what you consistently find. So Renata, talk to me. Welcome once again, and tell me what got you into what I know what you've done is kind of a collaborative effort where you've done your own thing and you've brought in many wonderful other healing techniques. Mm-hmm. What inspired you to develop your specific system? Is it okay if I call it Life Reset?
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
Because I know you call it Reset, but it really, when I was done with you, I felt like you'd reset my life. I was more calm. I was less agitated, less frustrated, and I began sleeping again. And that was huge for me because anybody who's close to me knows that usually I have nights where I either don't sleep or I maybe have a few hours. So I'm at like today, I've slept for 9 hours.
You're kidding?
No,
really?
I told you it really worked. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a little embarrassed to say this, Renata. This should be between you and me. We won't let the audience hear this, but I actually got up.
Okay, shut your ears.
Shut your ears a minute, guys. Okay, I slept in until 10:47 today. This is me, right? I'm the guy that I used to get up.
I should give you a high five.
Yeah. Oh, we'll wash our hands. Don't worry. But we did anyhow before the show. So, anyhow, yes, I actually got up at 10:47. Normally, either I can't sleep or 6:30ish. I'm up and like, okay, I'm done with it. I'm just going to get up and start my day. So, hopefully, you guys didn't hear that last part about the time I got up. But I feel very well rested today.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, it just makes me look like I'm, like a slacker.
Oh, is this the belief that we have?
Yes, it is. Let's talk about it once again. So what happened to you that you want to share with us that helped you to develop this very, very powerful system that you use to untangle or to recode people's subconscious mind?
Okay, how I got into this in the first place. I used to do business coaching for a while, and that started when I was in real estate.
Right.
After I worked for the state government agencies and consulted. So when I worked with my coach in real estate, then I realized that I was already doing some consulting and coaching, what the coaching is about. So I started working with those people, small businesses, and not all of them actually produced the results that I expected.
Right.
So I looked into deeper, and people who know me know that I'm curious and I like to dig deep. So I looked at all the things, what were happening, why they didn't do, and there was the support, and they were like, they would be doing something that they shouldn't be doing, and vice versa, and they would stop themselves and not motivate. And I had all the stuff going on in my life as well, including some traumas that you mentioned. And I kind of looked at, okay, I'm changing my behaviors. I'm trying different stuff. I'm trying different strategies, but things are not working. And a lot of people miss things that it's like if you change your actions, it's always going to bring you different results.
Okay.
Sometimes, yes, but not always, because if your system is not allowing you to go and do stuff or get on a sales call and you're going to procrastinate or talk yourself out and go like eat chips or have coffee or do something else instead, what you need to do, you're not going to achieve what you need.
Right.
So from what looks like from the outside, like a confident and know-it-all thing, like woman, like what everyone saw me, I was insecure.
Got it.
I was so insecure that, and the bringing up part is I was not allowed really to express my emotions or what I thought because it was not okay. And that, of course, comes from the childhood and how you're raised and stuff and the culture. So I was starting looking like what could help me and others to build that foundation where I'm not afraid anymore.
Interesting.
Where I could build my confidence and heal the traumas. Because believe it or not, like 20 years later, after the trauma, I had no idea I still had it.
Right.
And a lot of people don't realize that they're still holding on to stuff from years ago, whether it's something happened a month ago, 5 years ago, or 50 years ago.
Renata, if I may interrupt you for just a second, is it the case that often we have things like I'm very clear that there were things that happened to me starting in kindergarten that I never let go of, that have bothered me until you and another friend started really working with me. I didn't even know that I didn't know how much it was showing up every day in my life and making me feel unsafe.
Yes.
So I'm guessing a whole lot of this can begin as early as, the first years of your life.
Actually, pre-birth.
Oh, interesting.
Because once you're in the womb, you're still gathering all that information and data.
Wow.
So it's all coming together like when you're adult and you're actually experiencing stuff and you're doing stuff and trying to reach the goals and set the goals or even dream. Because some people cannot even dream big because they think they are not supposed to, that they're supposed to be afraid, that they're not good enough, they're not worthy. So for me personally, I tried like numerous techniques and modalities, whichever way you want to call them. And I found that none of the things that I tried worked all the way through, like from A to Z, and cleared all this stuff and rewired, reprogrammed, eliminated that previous conditioning.
Right.
So eventually I'm like, okay, so I need to stop and kind of step back and see, okay, which parts of what things actually work. So I put things together, included my stuff, what I use in healing and rewriting. And I created a new process that I use for people who really need some help, who dealing with the same anxiety and fears, or have some blocks in their way that they cannot move past. They know they're not supposed to be doing stuff, like I said, but they're still doing. They know that it's okay to say the price for what you charge on a sales call, but they freeze. So then I work with them to eliminate what's actually causing them
To be blocked.
to be blocked.
Love it. I love it. What kind of people do you see? Like, who comes to you for help? And why do they come to you for help?
That's an excellent question. People who feel that they're repeating the patterns over and over again.
So these are people who are reasonably aware, so they at least get that, you know what, I'm the common denominator. Like this particular pet, like I have trouble closing deals because I don't think I'm worthy of making this sale, or I have break up with my boyfriend or girlfriend constantly because I don't deserve to have a boyfriend or girlfriend. This kind of thing.
Yes.
Would these be examples?
People need to be aware, and I'm loving that you brought this up, actually, because that's the first step. And people probably get annoyed with me talking about this already. But if you're not aware of your patterns, if you do not know what's going on in your mind, how you're feeling, and I'm talking about thinking, behaviors, emotions.
Right.
If you're not aware of them and you don't know what patterns you hold, there is just no way that you're going to just pull something out of the box and fix it. Plus, I don't believe in fixing.
Yeah.
I believe in eliminating stuff, like kind of, what's the word I'm trying to use? Without adding, you actually kind of have to deduct, eliminate.
You know, it's interesting. I remember being a little kid, and one beautiful spring day, I was out fishing, and it was the perfect day. I could see fish taking insects off the top of the water, and I had bought this, what's called a bait casting reel. Anybody out there who's a fisherman or fisherwoman knows that there's a problem with bait casting reels. If you don't cast them properly and stop with your thumb, the line, that once the lure hits the water, the reel keeps spinning and all this line comes out, right? So what happened was I forgot to hit that button that one spring day. And I'm sitting here and my reel is one big tangled mess. And I'm trying to get it all worked out because I was a little kid. I didn't have time to get a better reel or new line. And I knew I was going to catch a big fish that day. It was the perfect day. Everything presented as such. So I finally just started to bring it in, realizing I had to cut the line because it was that badly tangled. And so I pulled the line, and the moment I pulled the line, the mouth of a big largemouth bass, as big as my hand like that, came up to take my hula popper. Ooh. And I missed that fish that day. And so how I think about you is you're the person that would have untangled my fishing line so that I could have caught that big fish. Meaning, you know, the big fish could represent a husband, a wife, a girlfriend, a big sale. You're like a person that comes in and untangles your subconscious mind. That's how I think of you. Like you get rid of all the tangles so that in my case, I could cast that line out and catch that fish. So in the case of another person, it might be hold on to their husband, hold on to their boyfriend, hold on to their job, or produce unprecedented results in terms of sales or discover something because you untangle the subconscious knots, if you will, in the mind so that people can have fresh line to deal with.
This can be actually in any situation because, I mean, it goes from business to personal life. And I tend to focus on business, more entrepreneurs and high achievers like yourself.
Right.
But it goes anywhere in life because I worked with a lady who had 2 daughters and she was like a hawk watching, never letting them out of their sight.
Sure.
And it's like the only people who could actually watch them or just be with them, it was the father, mother, and the sister.
Of course.
And the moment we started working, it appeared that she was kidnapped when she was young. And she was having this fear of loss all the time with the kids. And the kids could not even go play dates, sleepovers, nothing. And a few weeks later that I talked to her after we worked, it's like, Renata, look what happened. I'm like, what? She's like, I just let my daughters have a sleepover with in-laws overseas for 2 nights.
Beautiful.
And now she's planning the trip overseas for them to go alone.
Fantastic. Renata, we got to take another break. I can't believe it, but we do.
Yes.
Folks, I'm Dr. Nelson Bulmash. My guest is Renata Mazu, and we're talking about getting your life untangled through her system called Life Reset. We'll be right back.
Are you interested in buying or selling a home in the Atlanta area? Are you looking for an experienced, top-producing agent who consistently sells and closes homes year after year? If so, give Shira Cohen a call at 678-523-0757 or visit her website at shiracohen.atlantafinehomes.com to learn more. Her proven marketing methods, extensive resources, and partnership with Atlanta Fine Homes Sotheby's International Realty can truly make a difference when buying or selling a home.
Look, Billy.
Oh, do I know Billy? We're back. We're having a great time. Sorry, we were looking at some of the wonderful comments a moment ago on some of you. Thank you so much for the beautiful comments.
Thank you, Billy.
Thank you, Billy. It's very sweet. Yep. You know Billy? Billy's a friend or a fan?
Yes, actually, Billy is one of the original gang for Awaken Atlanta from Tim and Shannon.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah?
No idea. All right, before we get back, I want to share with everybody not to forget to tune in tomorrow with her very own Arlene Dahamko and her show, The Multidimensional MD, Waking Up Medicine at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. She'll be interviewing Doctor of Osteopathic Medicine, Maria Kaufman, and they will discuss the electrical U. Okay, so what I want to do, and I know this might be a little bit tough for you, and the rest of you guests, jump in if you have any questions for us. We'd love to hear from you. I saw some nice comments there. I'm going to ask my producers if they have any questions that people are asking. There were a lot of comments there for our show. Let us know if there are any questions that people specifically have. I'd love to hear from some of them. And don't forget, you can call in at 678-495-4345. I want to take that jump. You know, once again, you had so much success with me. I was so incredibly happy that I feel and I'm performing much better since you worked with me. The neat thing is, I started working with you before all of this COVID-19 sort of came about with the intensity that it has today. And it's really quite interesting for me because like I'm going through it in a very, very calm place. I feel really centered and grounded, and I really want to thank you for that because I know a lot of that was the work you did earlier with me to kind of calm me and get my subconscious mind producing some better thoughts that are more consistent with me having the life I want. So let's do this. Let's address some of the needs and concerns. How would you work with someone who came in and said, I don't even know where to start. I'm in so much panic. I don't know if I'm going to die from this thing. I don't know if I'm going to lose a family member. I don't know if I'm going to lose my car because I no longer have a job. I don't know if I'm going to get a job when this is all done. I don't know how long this is going to take. How would you work with someone like that? Somebody that's in just such a state of panic and fear.
That's a difficult question to answer.
Let's see what we can do with
and
that.
Thank you for putting me on the spot. But
I know.
okay.
I'm sorry, but here's the thing. We'll handle it the best we can.
Yes.
I know it's
I'll
hard.
do my best.
But there's so many people out there that even if you just can guide us through sort of the model of how you would work with them.
Well, first of all, my first question to those people is like, is this the first time you experience all that fear and anxiety? Because I can bet that those who panic right now, who are really on the edge, and actually I made a post like that you need to keep yourself together, at least for other people and for yourself's sake.
Right.
So if this is not the first time, see what exactly you're afraid of. Because if you're doing your own job, if you're doing your part, if you're protecting yourself, if you're cautious, if you're washing hands or whatever is suggested to do, food-wise, vitamins, you're probably better to speak about that. I mean, there is nothing much you can do except focus on the better things. And I actually made a post, how to release an anxiety, actually a video in a post. So you can look into the tips right there. But we talked to producer Ashley just a couple of minutes ago, and she expressed that she has a lot of those symptoms going on. Ashley, can you share a couple of the symptoms
Yeah. So, gosh, I've had anxiety for as long as I can remember. And anything that I look at, I think, oh my gosh, there's going to be a coronavirus germ on that surface. And what if I touch that and I don't wash my hands enough and then I touch my face? Or I walk, someone sneezes and then I walk in the air and a particle goes into my eye. And then it's just never ending mental torture.
Okay, so if this is something that's happening to you guys, what I suggest doing is like, okay, remember the previous times when things were happening before, because this sounds like I'm paranoid, I need perfection, I need to sterilize all my environment, and I need to put myself in the box and sit there until everything is over. But life still goes on, right? So are you doing everything you can right now?
Absolutely everything and then some, I feel.
Okay, so there are some thoughts that's probably running in your mind. So how are you controlling them? How you're shifting the focus from that virus onto your life?
How?
Are you shifting? Because a lot of people, what they do is like, okay, I have those thoughts and they run, and I'm not going to do anything about this because I can't stop.
I try to do yoga in times like that and stay away from the news, definitely.
Okay, that's one thing you can do, stay away from the news. You need to be informed, but you need to actually get your sanity back. And if it takes, I don't know, really good distraction to shift your focus, do that. What I suggest sometimes people doing with the shifting focus is like, you're not ignoring the symptom itself. You're aware and you're acknowledging it's still there, but you're choosing to break the pattern of that anxiety, because I'm sure it's all over the body, because a lot of people do meditation or even like thought work, thinking work, but they forget that all those emotions actually experienced in the body. And you even have sometimes physical pain in the body that it has emotional attachment, that emotional component to it. So if you cannot go into the place where you can figure out the original event, one that was created, the original anxiety, because like I mentioned before, that probably was happening before the virus, just try to interrupt the pattern as much as you can. Instead of, okay, my mind is racing, okay, what can I do to stop that racing? So what I suggest is having a list. Just make a list what you love doing. Like, I don't know, 5, 7 things, 10 things, however many you can think. It could be, I don't know, going for a walk, if you can leave the house, singing a song, doing jumping jacks. Especially physical activity is so great to interrupt the pattern, because that amygdala, probably you're going to be better for that to speak, is shutting off, because then the fight or flight is going to rest. And it's like when your body exhausts itself, your emotions go down. So introducing physical activity among those is really great. And just start observing yourself. Whenever you get into the panic, anxious mode or fearful mode, introduce one of the things from the list. Have that handy with you, because the reason I ask people to write things down is because at the panic mode, we tend to forget. Our mind just goes blank. We don't remember a thing. So it's really good, like have on the phone or just have a list in your pocket. Okay, I'm feeling really hard and my body's tensing. What can I do? So shift the focus. And the more you do that, the more your mind's going to train. If you're not going to eliminate belief, like underneath, at least train your mind like step by step and see how you can retrain that old pattern into the new one by breaking, introducing new stuff. Do breathing. I really love breathing technique for anxiety, because what I suggest people do, not just regular breathe in and out, but counting backwards. It's like you breathe in, counting like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, or 3, 2, 1, however long your breath is.
Right.
And hold for the same count and exhale for the same count, but count backwards. Your brain, you cannot just think 2 thoughts at the same time. So
Very interesting.
Your focus is automatically on the breath plus counting, which makes like different part of the brain start working, because you have to pay some type of attention and make an effort to do the counting and breathing. So if you do that for 20 seconds in a row, add another layer of shifting focus onto something else. Get one of the things from your activity list. The longer you can have this lasting, that shifting lasting, the less likely your brain is going to go back to the old pattern at that moment.
Beautiful. Ashley, I want to share a few things with you as well. One is, when I was really distressed because I had a string of people close to me die, I just, anybody who's had that, I'm sure you probably have had that, knows when you go to bed and the world suddenly becomes quiet, boy, your subconscious mind just brings one element of darkness after another, after another, after another. So one of the ways that I helped stop that was I did pattern interrupts. And one of my favorite pattern interrupts is to use one of either two incredible pieces of music. One is by Carlos Nakai. He has a Canyon Trilogy. And one of the loops is 2 hours and 1 minute in length. And I know that because I listen to it every night, or the Eternal Om every night, which is 11 hours and 11 minutes. And so what it does, it's a pattern interrupt. It's so beautiful and inspires such states of peace that it allows me to calm down. It's hard to be anxious when you're hearing something that's so calming, right? And I want to say another thing about the breath work. We have the amazing Dr. Amy Daries. And one of the things she talked about when I interviewed her, she's one of the hosts here, as you know, or maybe you don't know her, but she is. And one of the things that she taught me that was so interesting is she's really big into proper breathing. And she said, you want to make sure that you breathe ideally through your nose. And the reason you do that is because it drives what's called a parasympathetic response. We all know what fight and flight is, right? You got fight, flight, activation, vigilance with fight or flight. But with the parasympathetic response, breathing through your nose, and you can breathe out your mouth, but breathing through the nose improves the rest, digest, and peace states of the mind and body. And so if you train yourself to do these breath states where you're breathing and holding for 1, 2, even 3 or 4 seconds if you can, and then blowing out your mouth and then breathing in again through your nose, it slows the psyche down. It slows the metabolic rate down. And you can train yourself so that you can actually go into the entrance of meditation, or at least greater states of peace. And I trained myself to do that every single night as a part of my relaxing so that I could actually sleep, because it was so bad for me that I couldn't sleep, right? So, and another thing is, I had such a great interview 2 weeks ago with Dr. Abby Metcalf, and she said, take yourself 3 times a day where you take a moment to address where you are and just note where you are. Train yourself to note where your mind is, and then create these pattern interrupts to begin to shift it. And the more you're aware that you're being run by the part of your mind, your subconscious mind, or your fight or flight mechanisms, that you can put things in place to help to dampen, if you will, lessen the severity of that anxiety, that depression, that frustration. Okay? And then we want you to get back to us and let us know how that all works. And we'll have our next coaching session with you and the rest of our, thousands and thousands of people. Okay?
I will definitely try. I will do that. Thank you, guys.
Do we have more time before the break?
Yeah, our clock went out here.
Okay, I can give you one more thing.
Go for it.
That I just thought of, because sometimes I forget things. Okay, if you take 3 fingers, and put first right here and next to the nose, and the third right here, and put another hand right here. Okay, it's like holding your nose at the top, like with the third eye, if you're familiar with that, and another one is on the back. Sit with this pose for a couple minutes, especially when you feel anxious. It's gonna reset your system a little. And just the more you do it, the more relaxed you can be.
Right.
There are many different techniques to try that. To try relaxing and limiting anxiety, but try. Because with this one, when I worked with one lady, she came for a totally different thing. She wanted to check what was going on with her business and confidence and everything. And when we did this particular technique, it not only calmed her system down, it removed the physical pain that had emotional component to it.
I will be doing all of those things starting now. Thank you, guys.
You're very, very welcome. All right, we probably have, another minute left?
Yeah.
All right. So, oh goodness, we only have another minute left. By the way, our clock went out, just so you folks know, so we have no idea where we're at for time. And you better give me some idea, because I love to talk, and I might keep us here until tomorrow morning. Just saying. All right.
We would be safe, because it's only
that's
just
right.
us.
Yes, yes. So listen, when we get back, we'll talk more about this. Fascinating. Thank you so much. So we're going to take another break. I am Dr. Nelson Bulmash. This is the incredible Renata Mazu. I was hoping you'd say your name.
Thank you.
It's okay. But I like that flourish she gave. So we're going to talk more about this and that. And I'm going to ask my producers during the break if there are any questions you want, because I know I had so many people that had questions, and everybody's too shy to call in. So if you have a question on Facebook, address it with us. Put it on under a show, and we'll be happy to talk about it.
This is Kurt Arsenault of Arsenault Advisory Group. Most of us never think we'll get divorced. Unfortunately, half of marriages will end in divorce. Children are always the first priority, but getting your finances in order will need to be addressed. The first step is to get an assessment of where you are financially. Will you keep your home? Do one or both of you have a 401k or pension? Who will pay for the kids' college education? Will you split your debt liabilities? These are just a few things to consider when thinking about divorce. Visit arsenaultadvisory.com and download our free ebook titled 6 Things to Do Before You Get Divorced. Don't wait. Visit arsenaultadvisory.com today.
I am back with Dr. Nelson Bulmash. I am back with Renata Mazu. Renata, we've gotten some questions about, does your system help with issues? I don't know if they're talking about issues that or emotional issues that create physical pain or just physical issues. Do you want to?
Okay, I'm just reading a comment here. How to relieve physical pain. Thank you, Patrick. Ranger says it's affecting her mentally. Okay, well, first of all, it depends on what kind of pain it is. I'm not a medical doctor, so please don't take my word. Always verify. But from my experience and what I noticed is, if there is an emotional component into the physical pain, you cannot address it with medication. You cannot address it with PT, with nothing. Chiropractors. I mean, I love chiropractors.
No, I get it.
I first time introduced when I couldn't sit for more than 15 minutes out of pain. And it was excruciating when I had to feed my daughter. I'm like, it was impossible. But after a while, that physical pain did not go away.
So you got to address the emotional source, in other words.
We have a caller.
Fabulous. Hello, who am I speaking with? This is Dr. Nelson Bulmash, the host of Health Matters on the UI Media Network.
How you doing? This is Billy McElroy, and I kind of got a little upset that you said people were too shy to call in. So I thought,
hey, Billy.
Billy, thank you. I really do appreciate that. You can't believe, Billy. I would say I've had hundreds of people that, okay, doctor, I'll call in, and nobody ever does. So, Billy, we appreciate you. We thank you. What question do you have?
Hey, I just love your show. I really don't have a question. I actually just have a testament to Renata. And I know you've worked with her too.
Yes.
That she is. I mean, I haven't worked with her from the business aspect of things, but I've worked with her from the personal aspect of things.
Right.
And she has done so much to change my life. And even if you think some of her things are a little weird, a little offbeat, let me tell you something. You should give her a try. You should really talk to her because she's helped me out so much in the past year.
Hey, Billy.
And even this morning, Renata. I mean, even this morning we talked on the phone, and she helped
just
me
don't call me the way you call me usually because I'm afraid.
Hey, Billy, I have a question for you. Would you be comfortable sharing some of the things that she helped you improve your life with? Would that be okay?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely. I'm an open book. So yeah, just and you know, everybody knows I have I had a really big problem with addiction, and after I went through a near-death experience, I reached out to people, and Renata was one of them, and we met, and you know, she helped me go back into the past, like peeling an onion.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep, I sure do.
She helped me go back into the past and figure out why. Why are you having these addictions? What are you burying? What are you dealing with? What are you ignoring? What are you trying to just bury in your life? And she pulled that out of me. And I'm not going to lie. I call her the ball buster for a reason.
That's what he calls me.
She's very direct. Yes, she is.
Yeah.
That's part of what makes her so effective, though.
She doesn't pull any punches.
Very true.
But you know what? I needed that.
Yeah.
I needed that. And so she helped me go back to my past and figure out why I developed these addictions and these patterns and that focus. And so, she's helped me out so much. And I just wanted to call in and tell her I appreciate her so much.
Well, Billy, thank you. If once again, you're so wonderful to call in. So she helped you with these things. If I may, and if you're uncomfortable, of course, just say, Nelson, I'm not comfortable to answer that. So I'm guessing you're having less trouble with your addictions. Was one of the positive outcomes. Great. And how has your life changed now that she's helped you with that? Like what kind of things are different in your life, Billy?
To be determined altogether because of this this whole virus thing. But you know what? She inspired me. I mean, I was inspired to go back and do what I originally wanted to do since I was a kid, and that's write.
Beautiful.
And so I'm writing now. I'm doing things that I never did before, and I'm not caught up in the day-to-day dramatic BS, so to speak.
Right.
To where and I'm taking the time to do the things I've always wanted to do.
So you feel
it's helped my depression. It's helped my everything because I'm inspired now.
Fantastic. You're inspired. I love that, Billy. Billy, thank you so much for calling. Please call in anytime. I really appreciate you having the courage to talk about yourself in this way. I imagine it's scary. We get out to a lot of people and know that I really appreciate you, and I thank you for calling in and letting us use you as an example.
Absolutely. Great show. I'm listening.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Take
you,
great
Billy.
care. Well, that's wonderful. See, I'm not the only person in the world. I know you have many people you've helped.
I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, but you really made a difference in my world. Once again, I think the thing that I really have to thank you for is that you helped bring me down. My emotional state was so activated, particularly after the death of my mother, that I just couldn't relax enough to sleep. And so here we're going into this COVID-19 situation where there's so much, the overall level of anxiety, of fear, of desperation, of anger, of frustration is so high with the collective that even if you're somebody who's really, used to centering yourself and being calm through turbulent waters are still turbulent waters, right? So if you're on a ship and you're in turbulent waters, it's still uncomfortable. So I'm very centered now, having worked with you. And so I'm more calm going along for the ride, but it's still a rough ride. Does that make sense?
Well, if you didn't experience any emotions, if you would be numb, I would be concerned.
Yeah.
Because it's a human nature to feel those things.
Beautiful.
If you didn't experience emotions, that would be something wrong.
Right.
So any extreme is not okay.
Yeah, good. Very good point. Renata, I want to ask you what else you're up to. I mean, you're always up to a lot. Or do you have anything on the way? You're writing a book? Do you have any courses coming up? Anything like that?
I am writing one book, but I'm not ready to talk about it yet.
Okay. They always say that. You see, I'm looking at my producers right now.
But it's about entanglements.
Okay. It's about
but another
entanglements.
thing that I just launched actually is a Master Reset Club. It's a virtual meetup club where we work actually I launched it like a week before this one.
Right.
So it's a brand new thing, and I'm offering right now with all the things going on, Ashley, welcome to join, to just release all the anxiety, or at least lower it, reduce it as much as possible to eliminate those fears. On the spot coaching, intuitive guidance, whatever you guys need. I'm going live every single week, usually on Thursdays. And it's going to be this Thursday, 7 p.m. So if you're interested, just message me through Facebook or any other social media. And free month, I'm just giving you free months. So everyone can use this. Use me.
I love it.
So, yes. And after that, if you decide to stay, you're welcome to stay. It's going to be just a small monthly fee, but you're going to get all the things, again, with all the teachings and releasing and subconscious rewriting. And if you want to create goals and achieve them and you have some blocks, we're going to remove them.
Beautiful. And I'll tell you, I'm speaking from experience here. You can't always experience everybody's work. I have friends that are in parts of the world that they have to be more hands-on, more in front of me, or me in front of them, if you will. And you don't need that, right? So you can.
I don't, and I worked with you live, in person, and virtually.
Right.
I don't even need you to be present.
Wow.
And and we sanitize like all the wires and all the connections.
So nobody can get the virus through our show. No, I'm sorry. I'm kidding. I understand. So, okay, so that'll be this Thursday, you said?
Yes. If something changes, I let people know. But basically, you just sign up and you get a link to join the Facebook group where we have the Facebook Lives there, or you can join through Zoom. So I can see you face to face through the monitor, and we do the work. And actually, you can do the replay. People getting extremely fantastic results through even replays.
I love that.
Because I tune into consciousness, basically into those people who are going to connect, and I'm tuning into their energy, and we're working from there.
I love it. So, Ashley, you and I will be the two first people, right? As soon as the show's done and you hit the hot button and we're done, Ashley, you and I are going to get signed up. Deal? Yeah. Perfect. All right. So I want to ask you, we're late in the show. What are your final thoughts? What kind of things do you want to leave the audience with? Take a few minutes and talk about that.
Oh, okay. Good question.
Well, you got a lot of flexibility, and I hope at least a little bit of it will. I know you're used to addressing so many things. I hope a little bit of your final thoughts will include the people who are really suffering right now.
Okay. Like I mentioned when I was talking to Ashley, and just because she expressed she's having some symptoms and fears and anxiety, I would really love for you guys to figure out what exactly you're feeling. Name that thing. Just, I'm feeling anxiety doesn't say much.
Okay.
Just look into at all the levels. Okay, what patterns you're experiencing, at what point your emotions or thoughts or even physical pain is most felt.
So what are you looking for? Are you looking like what time does it show up? How does it show up?
Right, because normally it's not like 24/7 that you have anxiety.
Is it 24/7? Mine used to be 24/7. Now I don't have much trouble with it.
I mean, it can be, but it's always an underlying kind of thought.
Right?
Right,
Yeah.
but normally it kind of probably peaks up a little at certain circumstance or a situation or around certain people. You need to kind of watch for those patterns, what's going on. And then introduce a pattern breaker, like interrupt the pattern, like I spoke before. And if this is an ongoing issue, not just with the virus, whenever you see that you don't like something, whenever you experience something, whether it's physical pain or emotional stuff going on, or you just thinking too much or whatever else is going on, just figure out where you're feeling it. Because a lot of people miss the body. And our bodies tend to hold a lot of stuff, a lot of energy in the weakest parts of it.
So interrupting anxiety with, all the things that you suggested, do you think doing that enough will eventually train your brain to not react in an anxious way? Or is that just a step?
Okay, it can train to do better. I cannot speak because I don't know what's really going on, what the root cause is, and I'm kind of drawn into 2-3 years for you personally, but it will make things better for the time being, and training your mind and that anxiety per se. It will shift things. Now, if you want to get and eliminate it fully or neutralize those memories, if you have any attachments, because you mentioned it's reoccurring, it's not the first time it happened. Just ask yourself whenever you start feeling something, okay, let's say you're afraid really about like touching stuff, right? It could be something else going on. Maybe you're afraid to get on a call or get out of the car. It doesn't matter what it is. What do I need to believe to be true for this, to feel this stuff? What do I need to be thinking about myself to be this extremely cautious?
I hate to say this. I'm going to have to interrupt you
Yes.
guys. We got less than a minute left. Renata, thank you so much. And Ashley, thank you for being part of our show. It was fabulous to have you
Thanks for
here
having me.
as one of our guests today and as one of the producers. So we got 30 seconds. I want to thank you again, Renata. It's fantastic
Thank you so
having
much.
you. You're so welcome. And we'll post the show. How do people get a hold of you? How do they reach out to you?
Just my website, or I'm mostly more active on social media like Facebook or Instagram. It's Edge Savvy or Renata Mazou. You can either message me on my personal Facebook or my page. If Instagram is going to be Edge Savvy
Perfect.
handle.
All right.
And Twitter, @savvy as well.
Okay. Folks, always be your best. I'll be back here in 2 weeks. Next week, my very dear friend and colleague, Dr. Charles Krieger, will be here with another great guest. Otherwise, I'll be here with my friend Taz, who's also an amazing healer. Until then, always be your best.
Thank you for joining us on this edition of Health Matters with Dr. Nelson Bulmash, where we help you discover how to ignite your mind, body, and spirit connection. Join us next time when we will bring you more exciting guests and engaging topics. Meanwhile, feed your mind, exercise your body, and nurture your spirit. The United Intentions Foundation and its associates take no responsibility for the opinions and statements made by the talk show hosts or their guests.